head challenge of 2 cozy mysteries that are new to me. So I've never read anything by this author or anything like that. So I thought that would be like a fun way to do it. Who will win? Hey everybody, I thought today would be kind of fun to do a little bit of a check-in for a video that I hope to get out kind of soon, because I hope it's not going to take as much editing and just like overall time as some other videos that I'm working on, because I know it's been a while, I think, since I posted a video. But as you guys know or don't know or whatever, I have a lot of stuff going on, so it's okay. It's currently Sunday, and actually it's the week of my birthday. I turned 28 on Thursday, which is kind of crazy, and my birthday will be on a Thursday this year, which means I was born on a Thursday, which, in case you guys don't know, every single year the day moves forward a day. So like the date moves forward a day. So if your birthday was like on a Wednesday last year, it's going to be on a Thursday the next year. But if it's going to be a leap year, it skips a day. But every 7 years, it like goes back to when you were born, I think. It should work that way. So 28 divisible by 7. So it's so crazy. It's so crazy because you have so much going on that I kind of am like, my birthday, who fucking cares? But I think I filmed an intro for this video, I hope so, where I said I was going to kind of head-to-head compare 2 brand new cozy mysteries to me. One of them is this summer, the Death by Bubble Tea. And then a new to me that I've had, and this is on my list of books to read before we move so I can get rid of it, is A Timely Vision. I'll probably just pass it on to my mom. Like I said, it's Sunday morning, so Aaron is still sleeping. I'm trying not to be loud, but I am loud. And last time I filmed a video where I was like whispering at the beginning of it, I progressively just got more loud. I also absolutely have to wash my hair. It is like, I never go this far. I think we're on like day 5. I'm thinking it's just dry shampoo at this point, so please excuse the styling. So I have both of these books. I'll start with this one. Jennifer Chow's Death by Bubble Tea and LA Night Market Mystery. I am currently only 16 pages into it. I liked the first chapter. The writing is very, I would say contemporary, but it's very beautiful. It's beautiful words. We're really getting this beautiful inner monologue of our main character. What I will say is I like the juxtaposition of that with like something that is interacting with her. So she recently gets fired from her job in the first chapter. I think the main reason that I'm not like loving it right now is that we've been introduced to her cousin, who seems like a real annoying character, which is just, I know that she's going to change or be better or not be what she's talked to us as, but I was just like, oh, I just don't feel like dealing with one of my 2 main characters being kind of annoying for at least half the book. But it's going well, and also the murder hasn't happened, but it's fun. So our main character is going to probably take over at the night market from her father's business, because she just got fired from her job because their local bookstore not making a lot of money. So support your local bookstores when you can, I'll say. And I'm excited to read. The Timely Vision is by Joyce and Jane Levine. It seems like they write another series, which is kind of interesting. I'm always interested how like co-authors like that work together, especially because I think these people are married. And this is one of the few cozy mysteries I feel like that doesn't include recipes for like no reason. Even this one includes recipes, but that's like always a thing they put on them. But this one isn't particularly food focused. It's called Timely Vision, so it's called A Missing Pieces Mystery. We have our main character here who could not tell you her name. Day. I'm much further into this one because this is what I've been carrying around with me, been reading. I'm like 172 pages in, which is why I wanted to film before I finish it, because I feel like I'm going to finish it this morning. Day is a business owner of a like lost kind of antique thrifty store. She lives on the Outer Banks in this little town called Duck that's like a touristy town. They're always touristy towns. I guess this one's following kind of a new trend. Like this one takes place in LA, and then my favorite series takes place in San Francisco, but usually they take place in small like tourist based towns where everybody has just like thriving local businesses, which is always so funny. It's not a critique. It's something that I think is nice, but every single cozy mystery has like the idealized small town of like thriving local small businesses. But this is a town in the Outer Banks called Duck, where everybody is running business, and there's what happens is our main character Dee can find things. Like if she touches you, she can find things. One of her main friends is a tarot card reader. She's kind of a huge bitch, and we are expected to think that. She's just like very much a pervasive find a man girly, and is like rude to other people who she feels like are taking her men or could find the men that she wants. But she's a tarot card reader, so this is kind of like ghosty, witchy adjacent. I guess I would say it's more psychic adjacent than it is even like witchy. There's not really magic. She loves her grandfather. Dee has kind of a troubled past. Her mom died when she was young. We don't know everything about her yet because they're obviously setting up this for some character growth. The other dynamic here is that there's a new guy in town named Kevin. He's a retired FBI agent, and he bought the inn, this abandoned inn. I'm not going to do any more spoilers, but we're trying to figure out really who killed Miss Mildred, or Miss Elizabeth, who's one of two incredibly old sisters that are kind of like big names in this town that have a lot of history. They're in their 90s, and she's found dead right before a storm comes in, and the main suspect is nobody, and then it's her elderly sister, who they have this like long-standing fight, even though they do love each other, because of a boy from like 1940. It's pretty interesting. It's like pleasant enough to read. We're not getting too much of Shayla, which is the friend that I think would be annoying, versus like this one where that annoying character I think is going to be the second main character. I'm hoping that she's not annoying for the whole thing, but I'll let you know. Shayla comes in and out. We also have her grandfather is another dynamic in this book, and also she's mayor of this town. This does give me a little bit more of like The Good Witch, the TV show vibes, where it's just kind of like a kooky town, but it's like fun. And I love that show. It's like such a nothing show. So little happens, so little is explained, and I'm like, yes, just give me, it's like truly a show that's like just vibes. I don't know who I think has done it. I think that we are maybe supposed to believe that the newcomer has done it, but they've done such a job. So, because like in these stories, there's very, usually like one or two people that have most likely done it. It's usually, and it's usually like a character that's been recently introduced, whether that's recently introduced the book prior or something like that. Like very rarely is it from the main cast of characters. And they've done so much to set up the new guy, his name is Kevin, and integrate him into the community. Our main character has had so many private interactions with him where we're like building trust with this character. So I would be really surprised if it was him, because it wouldn't be, to me, a rewarding reveal where it's like, oh my god, this is kind of like a beloved character that turned on everybody. But it also isn't well set up that he did it, because there would be nothing that would lead the reader to think he may have done it in this story. And part of these books is to be like, who do I think did it? I kind of think that it was Mary Lou or the gardener, because some of the evidence they have is somebody would have to have access to the garden shed, and the gardener would, which is kind of an easy answer. I don't know why it would be Mary Lou, but she's come up peppered throughout the stories. And I think that she's supposed to be kind of like a busybody, and she's really, really into the turtles, saving the turtles. And I wonder if like her and this old lady got into a fight about the turtles. Kind of an off the wall guess. I really have no idea. And I also won't tell you guys if I'm right, because then what if you guys don't read it? Yeah, I'm enjoying the story. Like I said, I think I'm going to finish this pretty soon, which is why I wanted to come in here. I have about 100 pages left, which is why I wanted to pop it and explain it. I don't know if either one of these are going to become like my new faves. I feel bad that I don't have more of this read, but that's just how it worked out. I was trying to parallel read them, and that was too much. So like I said, since you guys have last seen me, we've done a couple things. I finished A Timely Vision, and I washed my hair. I was going to say, and I finished the other book too. Have not. A bold-faced lie. So my final review of this is, I will not tell you if my predictions were right or not, but, and even if they were right, they would have been right for the wrong reasons. I think I feel like I would be interested to read the next book in the series, but I'm not inclined to buy it. But I think I might do like a follow-up check-in after we move, because I'm not inclined to buy anything right now. But if I did find this book at the library, I would definitely pick it up, the next in the series or another one in the series. I do think this went a little long. It's almost 300 pages. And you got some interesting stuff here because it's laying out the town. You're getting a feel for the lore of the town, and you're uncovering some secrets. Although I do think there was some significant like red herrings put in there that added like an additional 70 pages to the book that I would have been okay with having a little bit less of. Because I think part of these stories that gets kind of bogged down is they have to do a lot of self-investigating. So there's a lot of downtime. And obviously you want some downtime to round out characters and plot points and just like set up the scene for the town. But it did add, I would say, probably more pages than I like really needed. But I also think part of it is because I'm like, oh, I'm trying to finish this book. So I could have done with maybe like 30 to 50 less pages. I didn't mind there being an additional murder investigation, and I didn't really mind having a red herring deepening of the plot, like our main character thinks she knows everything, or thinks she knows a lot of the stories and the folklore that goes around in Duck, but actually there's more to the story, and that was interesting. I think it ended kind of like a little too neatly. And once again, we have a main character here that will like not say she likes somebody, but I imagine this is supposed to be part of quite a long series. So I get the idea for a slow burn here. I overall would say this is like, if I was thinking about my tier system, I think overall right now, I like this better than the Alex Erickson book that I just read, The Iced Coffee. So I'd put this for right now in B tier, or maybe still C tier because I've only read one. Certainly not A tier, and certainly not as like magical maybe as I was hoping for. And I guess that's like really all I have to say. Like I said, I don't think I would ever buy another one of these, but I would look them up. Again, actually that's a lie. I'm sure if I saw them at the thrift store for like $1, I would buy them. But for a retail of $8, I don't think I would. It's so hard. I feel this way about a lot of things, and I don't really want to make a video about it because I feel like there's so much criticism of like women and what women get into and things like that. But I think BookTube specifically has a problem, and I think all crafting and all hobbies do this, but like I think there's so much overconsumption, and I think with things like BookTube and BookTok and Bookstagram and like all that really promote this idea of just consuming and reading and hoarding books, which is like not really even what I like about reading. I've always been an avid reader, and I've always enjoyed going to the library or buying books secondhand, but I really recently saw that Hallie Pham, who I don't know, I haven't watched her content really ever, but just knowing some of her stances on like abortion and birth control, I just have never really been a particularly large fan of. And I think that there's a lot of content creators out there that are really promoting, I think, the idea of like, why do people say you shouldn't get married young? I'm still young and I got married really young and it worked out great for me. And I'm like, I think that this is misguided, but I can't elaborate on that and I don't want to start drama. Probably edit all this out, but I recently saw that she did a massive book haul video because she only needed 500 more books to be considered a library, because apparently if you own 1,000 books, you are considered a library. And while I think there's this idea of like owning books is always good, which is kind of not true, as somebody who's getting ready to move across the country, books are fucking heavy. And we got rid of a ton of books, and I still feel like I can't let go of enough books. And I don't even have probably close to 100 books between me and my fiance. And 500 books is a lot of books to buy. And I don't necessarily know if I think buying 500 books just to be considered a library is like a cutesy thing to do. Because the other thing about it is like, I really do think of that Seinfeld skit where it's like, how many books really do have like a rereadable feature? And the thing is like, I'm probably going to give this book to my mom, and my mom will give it to somebody, and I don't feel bad about buying this book for $1.99 from Thrift Books. But I think if I went to Barnes & Noble once a week and hoarded a bunch of books, or even if I went to my local indie bookstore and bought 10 books every 2 months, I would feel a little bit like, am I doing the right thing? And I know that maybe people will be like, it's not that serious, or there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, but it's not even those things. It's like, do I just like buying books? Do I just like owning books? To what end? To what end? Is Hallie Pham or any of these people who have 1,000 books in their own personal collection going to open a small library type thing? Or are you just having a library so you can let everybody know that you love to read? Like, what are we doing here? And I find it so frustrating, especially when you think about, yes, technically your home collection of 1,000 books is a library, but when you think about really what libraries give to most communities and they're so underfunded, I would so much rather people who are making a fair amount of money to be influencers on Bookstagram would put those energy and resources and effort into their own local libraries and maybe buy 500 new books for their local library if they were able to do it, or fund some sort of project for kids or, teens or elder adults, or like run some sort of like, I don't know, like resume writing, or do something useful with that money instead of just essentially purchasing a large amount of things. Again, it's not like she needed 10 more books or 20 more books, 500 books. She was only halfway there. That's such an insane thing to do. And maybe I'm really talking out my ass here, but I just really think that that's like inappropriate. I don't know. Inappropriate is the only word I can think. I think it's misguided, I guess, really. And again, like I said, it's something that I try to be mindful of. And I'm not trying to be like, I feel like there is an accurate discourse where people critique a lot of book internet content, and it gets such heavy criticism because women seem to be the people that are the face of it. And I recognize that. That's like, Jesus, women can't enjoy anything. But I also do think that there should be allowed to be criticism of BookTube and Bookstagram, especially, to be fair, I guess I didn't watch the video, but I don't know. It's something that I think about. I think it's why I want to read all these books before I give them away, because I spent money and time and I took away resources and I haven't read them yet, and they've just been sitting around my apartment. And so that's why this was one of 7. It's why I go to the library so much, and it's why I try really hard not to buy books. And that's why I really have to thinking about if I'm going to purchase something and if it's good enough that I want to buy it. And I get it. Let's just have a little bit of fun, live and let live. But I'm also not recommending you buy 500 books to make yourself a library, because if you want to do it to be a library, what else are you going to provide to the community? Because libraries don't just combine a bunch of collections of books. They are like a space where people can exist to be free. They often provide they provide a bunch of internet and computer and printing access that a lot of people may not really have. They provide like story hours and low income to like free camps. They provide like book clubs and community resources. And I've seen with a lot of really cool things, like with certain library cards, you can get like national park passes, or you could take out board games and video games and movies. So it's like, technically you have 1,000 book internal library in your house, but what are you providing to the community? And you just got there by just immediately going out and buying 500 books. So is that helpful? Is that useful? You know what? I take it back. I'm not even sorry to have this criticism. I think it's really short-sighted, and I'm really mad about it. And probably going to bother my fiance a lot about it. And I think it's a fair criticism. I think that it's a fair thing to be like, hey, wait a second. Let's not forget these things. Like, let's not forget that a library is not just a collection of books. It's a ability to make a community. I currently live in, I get access through the Baltimore Public Library, and every time I go there, they are located right next to near the high school. It seems like they have programs where kids can go out of school, or they can be there, they can do their research. They have libraries helping them. They have study rooms. They have like ESL classes. They have a bunch of stuff online where you can join book clubs or Dungeons and Dragons events, or like science experiments and kid reading hours. And I love following the library guy on Instagram, and he talks about all these great events that people have with the experience with the library, and like introducing new people to books and getting to see the different type of families that come in and getting to share the things that people have access with. So while I recognize that technically 1,000 books means you have a library, I really think, what are you providing with your 1,000 books? And if you have the money to go buy 500 books right now to make it so you have a library, maybe you could put that money to resources. Doing a quick check-in on Death by Bubble Tea. I said yesterday I was going to start it, and I just wanted to stop before I'm done because I'm definitely going to finish it probably on my break today at work. I am on page 239 of 270, and I definitely wanted to stop before I finish it to do like a little bit of a check-in. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I think, I'm sorry guys, my dryer is going also. I think what I said before in the first chapter, being nervous about the main character's cousin, is something that I didn't have to worry about. If you were like, oh, I can't have one character who's just like so arrogant and so flippant and so whatever, then I wouldn't necessarily worry about that for this book. It definitely tapers off, and she has some pretty good smarts and some good ideas. She's the character that really pushes Yale to like look into the murder and stuff like that. I think one of the things I forgot to mention that's common in many cozy mysteries is a complicated relationship with parents and with the past, with like doing things. In this one, it's alluded to that after her mother dies, she kind of was like a crazy party girl for a little bit. We don't know anything about it, but Dizzy was her like on the island nickname by a lot of people. And that is similar in here, where Yale has dropped out of school because her mother had, she's very traumatized by how her mom died, which was very sudden and very unexpected, and obviously carries some guilt for a variety of reasons. And that's like a common plot point in these books. She has a great relationship with her father, and she also, to be honest with you guys, doesn't have like a ton of friends. That's been very clear. And so I hope that her cousin comes back, or I hope that we establish a like second person for her to be good friends with in the story, because I think it will get a little bit hard if she doesn't have a collection of characters of people that she considers her friends. My camera is giving me the I'm dying thing, but last time I did that and I just kept talking, I saw like 20 minutes worth of battery in it. So I really am enjoying this story. I think that it does show a little bit of a very like young debut author, which I'm assuming Jennifer J. Chow is. There is very much a like, where should we go next? Let's go. Like, it's very structured that way, versus like, I think, which this one is too. It's very much like, where should we go? Let's go. But this one's a little bit more egregious because we've already established that Yale is scared to drive, and she doesn't drive. So every time she wants to get somewhere in LA, she has to ask a friend to drive her, or she has to take public transit. And because she's often asking to go on a drive, it's like it's a little bit more of a to-do than something where it's like very isolated on this small island and she takes like a golf cart. But I think that that's something that gets better as they write these stories. And also, again, we're setting up the entirety of the cozy mystery plot. We're setting up the entirety of what is to be a long awarded series. So hopefully she becomes better at figuring out who did what. And again, I think I forgot to mention this too. I'm a YouTuber, guys. I forgot stuff. I think I should have defined what a cozy mystery was in the front in my own terms, because for me, I'm sure there is like a definition of cozy mystery here, but I think for me there's certain tropes or certain like rules of the genre that always get hit too. And I think part of the reason that the first book exists is because why this person gets interested in investigating is because they are suspected, or one of their like good family members or their business is suspected of the crime, and that's why they start looking into it. This is not so much the case. I mean, I guess it's not so much a close tie, but the main character is the mayor of the town, and so she doesn't expect one of the town elders essentially to have done it, but it's not really like her father or something like that. But in this book, it is them. They are suspected very loosely, and I do think we have a little bit of a character here that's like complicated. I would say oftentimes the person who dies in these books, I would say it's about 50-50, is either somebody incredibly beloved and shocked, somebody random, or somebody who is like kind of a complicated character and isn't maybe like the nicest person. So I guess it can't be 50-50, maybe like something to, not like 30-30. I would say it's like somebody random 20% of the time, like a new person in town, a town visitor, and then split pretty evenly, it's somebody beloved or it's somebody who is not beloved. So I'd say that's like about 40% for each, and then 20% on the new people in town. This follows that rule. That's why they get involved in investigating. But I think we're gonna see a lot of development through some characters. We've already laid some things out here. We already have like kind of an enemy in the area. And again, what is kind of, I think, fun about this one is it takes place in LA, which is a much bigger town than what's taking place in a lot of these Cozy Mysteries, like in this one specifically, Duck. I like the feel of that a little bit more. The people are bigger. You know there's going to be more cast of characters. I think the one thing about doing that is not making it feel like every single book I'm getting an entirely new group of people. The second book is already out. If the library gets it, I probably will purchase it, but I don't think, or loan it. I don't think that I would necessarily buy this quite yet. I'm not super invested in the characters. I also think they're doing a good job of laying out extra characters that are not just there for romance plot points, and that's not the big thing about Yale, is that she's not worried about a romance, which seems to be a pretty big part of a lot of these books, is we're already setting up somebody to be the romance interest, and that's usually ends up being like a big part. I mean, in this book, that's very clear. It's like everybody's trying to get her married off, and it doesn't even seem like she has any actual friends. And so I like that layout a little bit better. If I, at this point, had to say which one I liked better, I think that overall I liked this one slightly more, but I would give them both kind of that B- C+ rating. I haven't finished this one yet. There's still 40 pages. We're about to find out who the killer is. So I think the other thing here is that I think that at the end of the book, they always end up in kind of a like life or death situation. And I kind of don't think that didn't happen in this one because of who the killer ended up being and how it ended up happening. But this one, I think, is going to follow that line, at least for a little bit. I'm trying to decide if I can read it. All right, I'm like really gonna be late for work, but whatever, they can wait. Hopefully my boss won't see that. I mean, I'm leaving soon. Overall, the ending was good. There was somewhat of a life-threatening situation. There was a little ex machina to solve it, but I kind of like that we got the cousins back. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know which one I would choose. I don't think I would buy the next of either of them, but I would certainly take them out of the library. They're certainly both worth your while. If you like something a little bit more modern, I would definitely go with the Death by Bubble Tea. If you like something a little bit more magical, or maybe a little bit more of like a classic cozy mystery, I would go A Timely Vision. But they're both true to the genre, cozy mysteries, and they're both ones I'll be looking out for. If I ever do make that video where I have a ranking of all of them, they will definitely be comfortably in B tier, even though I've only read one, but I will just put that as a caveat there. And I'm glad I made this because I have now finished yet another book in my stack of books, and I've read one of my library books. So we're doing it, guys. We're getting through it. I hope this video was fun for you guys to watch. I know it's kind of, I don't really know how to do reading vlogs. We've talked about that before, but if you like videos like this, if you like talking about books, if you love cozy mysteries, let me know some of your favorites down below. Feel free to subscribe. I've got a couple videos in the works. I think this one will probably be published before some other ones. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed.